good luck, gets pretty thin. And people get desperate and they come up with, well, what do we do about this? Well, what we do about this is we think about the option of trusting in God in the first place, because that has the answer. Well, I feel from my revealed experience, but of course, in the first 24 years of life, I did not have that experience, and I did not see it as being effectively there in others either. You know, there are a few fanciful people that believed in God, but their life is not the sort of life I want, sort of thing, you know. But of course, you come across a religious person as you see it. You don't think about the reality of trusting in God. You just see religion. But if you come across people that are happily, apparently believing in God but following their religion, and their families intact, and the wife and the husband still love each other, you know, and the kids seem reasonably okay, not all turning to drugs and crime and so on, well, you start to wonder if, in some sense, you know, you would prefer that sort of life, but you just can't take on board their beliefs. But in a sense, the more you appreciate, assuming they're loving and kind towards you, the more you want to accept their view because you value them, and things start to perhaps lean against your secular conviction. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. I think I'm saying thank you because it's not that I see an inevitability, but I suppose I do with the passage of time. You're going to be crowded into needing and wanting to trust in God. And of course there's many a person who gets desperate on the secular life and turns to God and finds that it's the answer. And of course they won't shut up about it. They become fanatics perhaps, or deeply changed at least. And there's others who try to put their trust in such, and it doesn't work, and the illness gets worse and worse, or the wife never comes back, or the kids go from bad to worse. And so they think, oh, this doesn't work either, and they just despair, of course. And, they then sort of say, well, what sort of activity or prop can they have to hold themselves up? Well, there's drugs, there's drink, there's some therapy, go along to your counsellor who may help in some way, and there's distractions, which is virtually what addictions are. Well, you can try and block on it, look on the bright side. It's sunny today, Well, that is actually almost in the right direction, but you're not going to have the will to look on the bright side, perhaps, if you're bogged down in a world that's not good, and you don't have a trust in God. So, nothing very complicated. Trusting God is a wonderful blessing. Oh, take it then. Why would you not take it if it's a blessing? Oh, because it's not true, it's just make-believe. I've got to cope with the realities, but you can't cope with the realities as you see it. You need to see it differently. You need to trust in God. Oh, I don't want that as a solution. Oh, really? You mean you'd rather carry on the way you are? Well, no, I'm hoping things will turn out. Oh, how do you anticipate your hope panning out in the future? Well, it depends on circumstances, doesn't it? Oh, and is that very hopeful? Oh, no, not really. That's why I'm worried about how I can cope with such crises. Right, I see. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. Yes, I do say thank you, Heavenly Dad, as a sort of knee-jerk reaction in the end, because you get to a point where, well, they don't want to know. And presumably they'll suffer until they do want to know or die. And then according to Eastern religion, they may have to come back for another shot. Oh my goodness. That's not a good option. I don't want to go down that road. I would rather trust in a loving God and life eternal, because I find that so enriches and protects my life in the now. And if you don't find that, well, fair enough, you go back to the secular existence and try and cope as best you can with all sorts of prop-up ideas like try and get more community, be more sociable, have a hobby that gives you an interest, something that gives you meaning to life, or Sudoku, or the telly, or your device, or it's pretty desperate, isn't it? I don't think that's the way to go. To me, that seems absurdly obvious that that's not the way to go. But it didn't seem like that when I was secular. So the notion is, perhaps God does something. I need God to do something. Well, that's a strange situation, isn't it, where you need God to do something, but you can't quite trust that he exists. Better trust that he exists then. Then you will trust that he's doing something, and that trust alone may demonstrate to you that, in its consequence, that he is indeed doing something. And then you start to fly, of course. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.
Well, my experience is that trusting in God has a phenomenal effect on your life. Whether he exists or not, trusting in him existing dramatically changes your outlook, your state of mind, your hope, your joy, your peace, your creativity, your loving approach to everything, your loving kindness, your everything, life, fullness of life. Automatically is nurtured by simply trusting in God. I haven't proved he exists, but I'm very pleased with the consequences of trusting that he does exist. So I'll run with it. Thank you, Heavenly Dad. And of course it becomes real. It is your meaning. And there's no way you want to go back to your old ways. You're a new creation. Brand new man. Bless you. And you will be blessed. As far as I know, and I trust it's absolutely inevitable. Why would a loving God leave anyone out? That's my God. No favourites. Read John 17. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.